members get into that state of heat exhaustion and they have no idea what is going on with them. And at that point, you're dealing with a life and death situation. And it's not something to, worry about what's management going to say, or am I going to get in trouble, or whatever it is. You and myself and every other steward in this country will gladly go to battle over anything rather than go to a funeral.
The facts, dates, and events presented in this video are from the member's best recollection and may not be fully accurate. This video is intended for entertainment purposes only. Always consult with your local union about your rights and duties at your workplace. The opinions shared on this video are our own and do not necessarily represent my employer's positions, strategies, or opinions. All views shared are protected under the National Labor Relations Act.
What is going on, everybody? So today I have Greg Kerwood out of Local 25 in Boston, and we're going to be talking about the long days and the extreme heat that's coming up. And so let's just jump right into it. Greg, long days, since pretty much what I've seen and everywhere else, it seems like the same story is that since the beginning of the year, nobody's been hired really. And so generally a lot of people have been going out with these like 12, 14-hour days. I mean, what's your take on all this?
Yeah, it's clear that the company made a decision that they were not going to hire anybody. I don't know if it's all year, but certainly the usual run of casual drivers for the summer, they're not hiring. And that's by design to cut costs and squeeze people dry. Obviously, with people on vacation in the summers, all that volume's got to go somewhere. And they seem to have no problem dumping it on everyone and keeping them out there all night long. You and I have both been preaching this since the first of the year for people to get on the 9-5 list, start filing those grievances early to get up to the elevated meeting for quad pay before the summer, because we knew that this was coming. Now, I know in a lot of places, probably yours included, they're just paying the quad pay and overloading people anyway, but and that's not great, but at least you're getting the quad pay out of it, because there's a lot of people who didn't file and didn't get on the list and are now running into this wall of summer over dispatch and want to start filing the grievances now, and by the time you get up to 5 and then the 45 days for the meeting, everything else is going to be the end of the year, and they'll never get to that quad pay. So it sucks. There's no question about it.
And the quad pays, since we're talking about this, I mean, I've been hearing that generally on average, most centers are running about 6 people on the quad list, and it keeps just multiplying a little bit every time. I do know that a lot of places, they try to move the work around to try to prevent people from filing and get paid quad. In our supplement, the penalty for quad's $112 an hour. So it's quite a bit of money, and some of these grievance checks are phenomenally huge. Some of them even going over $1,000 in pay for 1 week of quad. So with that being said, it turns into a thing of like, they move the work around, then that guy gets sick of it, and then they file, and then so on and so forth. And it's a mixed bag, because I've also heard in some places that they're having issues with the quad pay and all that. So, Greg, I mean, I guess my question to you is what have you been seeing as far as throughout the nation when it comes to quads?
Well, like you said, I think it's varying from place to place. There's some places where people have been very aggressive about getting as many people up for that elevated meeting as possible. And I think there's strength in numbers. And so if you're coming at management with, double figures in people asking for that elevated meeting, they don't have the time or the capacity to ride everybody or, have all those meetings individually for an hour apiece or whatever it is. And so it sort of the process gets sped up and the company starts paying those grievances. In other places where you have maybe less people getting involved, labor can dictate that they're going to put the hammer down, so to speak, on people who are trying to get on that list. But it varies. Some places they're just paying the grievances. Some places they're trying to adjust the dispatch. I think it's going to be more of the former than the latter, simply because they're not hiring any people. And so, like you said, you move the work to one person and then they get on the list, and then you move it to another person, they get on the list. And so sooner or later, you're just going to have too much to get everybody in under 9-5 every day. and they're going to end up having to pay those grievances because they don't have the ability to hire.
I kind of want to send this question off to you guys. Leave it in the comments down below. I'm curious, what are you guys seeing right now when it comes to write-ups? At the beginning of the year, I mean, I have like a phone book size of just write-ups, and it seems like everywhere I've been talking to, it's been tapering off. I don't know if they just don't have people, because it seems like they're just not hiring. I'm putting speculation out there, but it just seems like they're not hiring and they need what they got, especially when they have very few drivers and all these guys are following the guy on quad. So, with that being said, I'm just asking for a favor from you guys. Leave a comment down below. What are you seeing in your building and where are you from? Now, let's get into the heat, because obviously the summer's coming. The heat is rising every year. There's always stories of, unfortunately, we have members that pass away from heat exhaustion. I hear these horror stories where basically somebody goes out there, they don't feel well, they call up management. Management's like, well, just hang out in the room with some AC and I'll give you a bottle of water and you'll be right as rain the next day. I mean, Greg, you've heard these same stories. What's your take on all that?
My take on that is that heat is not something to be messed with. And management isn't going to come to your defense and take care of you. We have new protections in the contract regarding heat breaks. People need to take advantage of that. If you're in a situation where you're not feeling well, your mind is already clouded, right? Because you're suffering from the heat. You're not making the best decisions to begin with. You need to just err on the side of caution, right? Send them a message. You're taking a heat break. It's not a request. It's a notification. And go take one. Now, they may tell you to punch out or whatever it is. They tell you to punch out, do so, and then file a grievance for the time. But the important thing is to take care of yourself, to get yourself to a cool spot, try to rehydrate. If it isn't working, it isn't working, right? Don't just say, okay, I took my 10, I'm going back out on the road if you still feel like garbage, right? Err on the side of caution. If you need to come off the road, come off the road. If you need to call emergency services, call emergency services. And stay in contact with people. If you're feeling like that, call someone. Call your steward. If you've got drivers that you talk to every day, get on the phone with them and let them know where you're at so that they can assess you somewhat and say, hold on, buddy, you're making no sense. I'm calling 911, right? Because I've seen, and I'm sure you have too, members get into that state of heat exhaustion and they have no idea what is going on with them. And at that point, you're dealing with a life and death situation. And it's not something to, worry about what's management going to say, or am I going to get in trouble, or whatever it is. You and myself and every other steward in this country will gladly go to battle over anything rather than go to a funeral. So the important thing is for people to take care of themselves, take care of each other, especially if you're inside or you're on the phone with somebody and you see something going on, do something about it, right? Don't wait. Don't wait. People need medical attention. They need medical attention. It's life and death. If they look bad, chances are they're already worse than you think they are. That's how heat exhaustion works. And so you need to get them to a hospital, because we don't need to see more people passing away.
Absolutely. And one of the fears that we always have the newer drivers, the younger drivers that try to make this a 9 to 5 job. And with the heat and the high stop counts, and we just talked about quad pay where they're just loading certain people down. Now you got a recipe of, hey, I'm going out with 200 stops and I'm trying to get off by 5 and I'm dealing with temperatures up to like 134 degrees in the back of the truck in some areas. And so that's kind of like a recipe for disaster. And it's kind of like us as older senior drivers, or even the young guys. I met a lot of young guys that have caught on really quick. It's just like, pull those guys off to the side, have a talk with them, keep in touch with them, because I am concerned. We see it every year. Now, the AC trucks, that's been talked about a lot right now. As far as what I've seen, I'm out of Roswell, Georgia, which is right next to the corporate headquarters. And we actually have 5 AC trucks in our building currently. Four of them are EV trucks. One of them is a gas powered. And I talked to my buddy out in Vegas, in the heat, desert, and all that, and he says they don't have any right now. I don't know if the company is kind of doing the test haul because we just got these. If they're making sure that they have any issues with them before they start distributing it out. It's obviously we're still on the beginning phase of all this, but per the contract, most of the AC trucks are supposed to be hauled at the back end. Greg, how many trucks are there supposed to be by the lifetime of the contract? You remember?
28,000, I believe, by the end of this contract.
Also, be sure that there's dual fans in all trucks. That's in our current contract, and working ice machines. Uh, those need to be placed throughout the facility. Now, Greg, is there anything you can give as far as like with the insiders, what they go through, how they can, uh, protect themselves from heat exhaustion?
Yeah, obviously, if it's hot in the back of a package car, it's just as hot in a trailer, and certainly in most buildings. The company was supposed to install new fans. We just got ours last week, just in time, because it's going to be 100 up here this week. Ice machines, like you said, and the same thing goes. People need to watch out for each other. The company's supposed to name a person who is entitled to monitor heat and call 911. As far as I'm concerned, that's everybody. You got to look out for each other. It can happen to anybody, anytime, and it can happen very quickly. If you see somebody struggling, don't just stand there and do nothing. Get some help to pull them aside, take them upstairs to an air-conditioned room, keep an eye on them, call 911 if you have to, right? We have to take care of each other in this situation because we know the company isn't going to do it. They just want to get the work done. They don't care. So, the same thing goes. Keep an eye on each other. Pay attention. I know people like to work inside with their headphones and zone out and everything else, but the last thing you want is somebody dropping in a trailer and nobody paying any attention, right? So see what you see, keep an eye on each other, and take action if you have to take action, please.
If you want more information for heat safety and the rights behind it, I'm going to leave a video in the description down below. Teamsters for Democratic Union did a video, our webinar, that's about an hour long, talking about how to enforce your heat safety. It was a really great video, goes over a lot of information. If you have not done so already, follow the Teamster Media Hub on Facebook. Greg Kerwood runs it. And shout outs, Greg, you have any shout outs today?
I'm just going to give a general shout out. We got bunches of people that are on strike. There's nurses in Minnesota, I believe. There's some folks that are fighting with Republic Services, another scumbag company. Everybody who's out there fighting the fight, keep on doing it. This is how we win. You stand up for yourself, you push, you fight, you get together, you work as a team, and you take these companies on, and that's how you win. So keep it up.
And I do this every year. Me and some other drivers, we go down to Orlando, Florida for the Halloween Horror Nights over at Universal, and we seem to keep growing. There's more drivers coming out this year. If you want to join in the festivities, we're going September 7th, Sunday, and just email me, roselhub@yahoo.com. We'll exchange numbers and have a good time. And that's all I got, everybody. I love you, and I'll see you next time.